We've spent the last couple of months going around speaking to people, trying to understand some of the things that drove the riots that week in August, and the things that we've found have really, really shocked us.
Yeah, I've been particularly shocked by talking to some of the youth workers and talking to them about some of the young people that they've worked with who really have no sense of politics and history and how the world works, and seem to give much more credence to conspiracy theory ideas of Illuminati and Freemasons running the world rather than what is actually, I think, happening right in front of their nose.
My experience of that day was like walking through hell, if there was one.
This shop behind me, Shiva's shop, was completely looted, gutted, and they tried to set fire to it. Just where we are standing now, Shiva was sitting in his van the next morning, and this rather large white bloke, came out of the estate, went up to Shiva, and he was obviously someone that suffered a little bit, I think, from mental health problems. I don't know, never met the guy in the past. But he went up to Shiva and gave Shiva a hug and said, "Who's going to give me credit now?"
I was actually asking him, what's a flat screen TV got to do with Mark Duggan? That's what I was saying to it. It just seemed to be kind of something set off.
It's something that's been brewing up for a long time, which exploded in a huge way that got the attention of the country and possibly the world, as we learned to see. But the reaction we've got from different people who were involved and why they did it, some showed remorse and others didn't, because they felt, that they don't have a voice. Some people might look at that and think, what do you need a voice for? You're still a young person, but they don't. Some people don't feel part of society. And another young person who wasn't involved, he said he wasn't involved because he had something to lose. He just found employment after, a year of looking.
If you look at it, there's a key theme and a key thread running through this, the riot, Cable Street, or go back in Northern Ireland, oppression, okay? People may think that young people rioting in London don't feel oppressed. They do feel oppressed, because if you have the police treating them differently, that's oppression. That's, there's a lot of young people, like Asian men, black men, and young working class people, they're living in a police state. Because if you walk down the street and walk in a particular area and the way you dress, immediately you will be stopped. So that's a police state.
All the reports that come out suggest that people from the ethnic minorities are more likely to be stopped than white people. And that has been going on for years and years and years.
One guy I talked to, he said, the police have killed a black man. And I said, well, black men are killing black men every frigging week. I said, what's the difference? Do you protest about that on black violence? Do you take any actions about that? And answer was no.
I was a councillor in 1985 during the first riot in Tottenham. That took place against the background of long-standing degree of poor relationships between the police and the black community. In some senses, those troubles have been brewing for really some years.
What I would like to learn from people who are involved in previous uprisings or riots is I would like to know, what was the catalyst? What was the sentiment like on the street? Did you feel safe? Did you feel in danger? Did you feel that if there were dangers in the street, say from fascists or racists or whatever, you could turn to the police for protection? Did you feel that? Did you feel comfortable within your own environment? Because I think oftentimes those are the things that get lost. When people go back and look at the past, they look at the obvious things, but they don't tend to think about the things that really impact ordinary people every day.
If you go back 50 years or so, and a lot of police lived in the area in which they policed. I can remember in Notting Hill, for instance, there was a set of married quarters next door to the police station.
The police have already admitted that the stop and search is too heavy. They've also admitted, and in fact I know some of the council is now doing something about cultural awareness of cops, because the cops coming in from, I don't know, Leicester, Kent, all over the place, they've got no idea, you know. When sometimes when I talk to people, they think I'm being extremely rude, but it's just the way I am. Because I come from Hackney, I was born here, you know, that's the way I am. You know, and I think you've got to go to an area, you've got to acclimatise yourself to the culture, that's what you do. But the police never get that. They just come straight in and they don't understand always what's going on.
I think people need to realise that history hasn't stopped. History is a continuous process, obviously. That's obvious to you and me, but it isn't obvious to some people. Some people think history is what happened then.
There was no organisation about the summer riots, was there? I mean, it was pretty organic, as I say, but I suppose people from Cable Street would recall a time where there were strong organisations, political, social, family groupings, whereby people felt a sense of purpose and knew what they were protesting about. And even though it's not difficult to see the reasons for the more recent riots, I don't think people have an awareness about the way they're being oppressed or pushed down, but they just feel they are. So it came out as a general anger rather than anything coming out of a thought-out movement.
I think there's a level with the World Wide Web. I think there's such a level of ignorance that's out there now. It's absolutely incredible. We've got knowledge at our fingertips, and we're choosing there's the will not to know.
I'd like to understand what life was like there initially before any disturbances took place, just to get an insight on how they lived, and then from there just being able to ask questions to get a better understanding of, you know, how the common guy felt, the common man, how did they feel in terms of what the society was like at that period of time.
I think I'd want to know from them, if they were going through that experience again, what afterwards would they do differently? That's quite a key thing. And I also want to know a bit from them about the impact that those events had on relationships of the different groups involved. So not just one side of the road against the other side of the road, but what just in terms of those different groups which were involved in 1936, what the impact was relationally. Because we're relational beings, we need to work on our relationships to make them better. And so what can we learn when people are pushed to a point of extremes?
What we're really looking for, the most important thing for us is support from you. Like us on Facebook, tell your friends about us, and also engage with the idea. Tell if there's things about the idea that you like, let us know. If there's things about the idea that you think could be done differently, let us know. Feedback's really, really important to us.
This isn't about us with our idea just going away and making a film and just presenting it. We want everyone to feel like they are engaged in this. This is a film about communities, and we want communities very much at the heart of it, and to really feel like they've got a stake in this film, and their opinions will be represented in this film. So get involved, please.
Please.